My name is Mary Henton, and I am Executive Director of Impact Now. Impact Now is a 501c3 registered here in the United States that partners with women in the Democratic Republic of Congo as they strengthen their leadership skills, develop their confidence so that they can deepen their capacity as leaders and facilitate change in their organizations and communities so that they can thrive. And so it's a delight to be here in this conversation, to be here with some friends, including Delphine Anjamito and Vivian Werabuli. And so since we are a small group, let's just start off with just very, very brief introductions, your name, where you're located, and what motivated you to be in this conversation today.
My name is Michelle Rendazzo. I am in Ipswich, Mass, about 45 minutes outside Boston. I'm a native Brazilian from Brazil. I was born in Brazil and migrated to the US when I was 5, 6. I can't really recall. Um, I'm all about empowering other women. My goal is to just guide as many powerful women I can to lead with faith. I think that's very important, and especially the climate that we are right now, and not with feelings. So I'm very big on leading with faith and just being understanding of each other's journey and just walk alongside another woman is just so powerful. I have done it in Guatemala and Brazil. I do it here in the US, and it brings me joy. And along the way, I learn something new about myself.
Thanks, Michelle. Jessica and Evelyn.
Yes, my name is Jessica Lembe Lembe. This is Evelyn Lembe Lembe. Can you say hi? I am here today, I guess for a lot of reasons, but I've learned a lot from Vivian and Adelphine. They are some of my role models, and I look forward to hearing and participating uh, just with them. So I was able to work with them in Beni and at UCBC in Congo, but I've been able to stay involved through Impact Now. So I serve on the board. That's a privilege.
Lindsay.
My name is Lindsay Cronmiller. I'm in El Paso, Texas, and I have worked with Mary for many years on different things. And so, yeah, I do some of the design work and social media here in the United States for Impact Now. And I've just loved reading Vivian and Adelphine's stories. And so I would love to be a part of the conversation.
Delphine and Vivian.
Yes, thank you. As it is known already, my name is Delphine Angemito. I work with UCBC. I've been focused on women empowerment since 2013. And being here today is a continuance of the conversation. There's nothing I like talking about women, because I trust that it is important and we have to. So being in this conversation puts me in a place I want to be all time. And it's a discussion that will give you an opportunity not only to share about, but also learn from other women through questions and exchange. So I am at the right place, and I'm happy to be with all of you.
And Vivian.
Yeah, my name is Vivian Werabuli. I serve at UCBC. I'm really happy to be here today. I'm passionate about women leadership. And as you know, women have so many challenges. So I feel like it's important to address those challenges and to create some opportunities to them so that they may speak out for themselves they may know that they are valued, they may know that they have abilities, and work together so that you may live in a world that women will have a voice, women will be heard, and yeah, so that's my passion. So that's my passion. I really enjoy. I'm passionate about women empowerment and especially women development. So I'm so happy to be on this conversation. Once again, thank you, Mary, for this golden opportunity. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We would like this to be a conversation. And we have various experiences here across a variety of cultures and continents. So, first question, what's a challenge that any one of you has experienced as a woman in leadership? And how did you meet that challenge?
I can start. I I also work in the medical field. I am a director of nursing. Um, when I first started my journey into the medical field, um, I started as a phlebotomist, and I just wanted to learn how it was the medical field with women. And I recall the first time I went into a board meeting as a just shadow this other man to see how it was. And the first thing that he said to me was, we don't discuss a lot about women's health in this meeting or women's issue. That's a very long conversation. The second year, they invited me again. I was still quiet, but then at the end of the meeting, I gave an idea of why don't we invite nurses, women, to the board meetings, not as a label or with a vote, just to be part of the conversation. And that meeting was supposed to be 30 minutes. It ended up to be 2 hours. They're like, wow, you guys are doing so much in the medical field, and we don't really notice. And that's when I implied the women have a voice in the medical field. And we are used to just allowing men to take those roles because, that's how we are taught. The doctor, they hold much more power than a nurse. And that's how in the medical field I was brought up. You always respect the doctor, you don't doubt the doctor. The doctor is like God. So I was very big on my role to educate everyone in the facility that I work that this is not just a women problem. So I break that barrier by putting my names on every meeting that they have, being part of it, and just being there as a body for other women that don't have that opportunity to be there to speak about their causes.
I don't know if I can just go. Yeah, as I hear this question, there is an example that raised to my mind. The challenge I want to share is about women not supporting other women, because there's that one of the causes of women experiencing challenges in their leadership. So I have so many examples of me being experiencing that challenge of women not supporting other women. But at that particular time, it was not about me directly. I was just in a mentoring coaching process. And at that year, it was about female students. For, 10 years, we used to have in the student body, always like men being elected as the president of the student body. And that was every year for 10 years. Then in our conversation with female students, we start to like make them reflect, what stops you? What is blocking? Can you also try? And Lucky we had a very encouraging woman who was called, she's called Amy, and she decided to try. And it was my responsibility and the group responsibility to support her so that she will go for the elections. As we were getting prepared and she deposited her she applied, then conversations started to come around. And this was a mix of men pushing women not to vote for her. And the conversation were like, will you let a woman like you lead you? And women who were prepared from their background, they knew what is said, what is around women's leadership. They were saying no. At the same time, in our sessions, we reminded them that it's time to support another woman. So they were confused. One voice telling them it's time to support a woman, another voice telling them, are you sure a woman can really lead the campus? Will you really enjoy having that president? So 2 days before the election, she was discouraged. Why? Because a group of women and went and told her that, listen, this is your first experience. Instead of going like a president, you better go as a vice president. So you couple with the men who will be in lead, so it will give us more chance. And she was very convinced. She came to me. I told her, I'm not with you if you do that change. I want you to be at the front. I knew as an assistant that this student is better than many male, but she's just hearing the people speaking around and she's not trusting herself. And then the next day, it was just one day before the election. She told me, I want to give up. And I told her, don't give up. She said, okay, I'm not giving up, but I want to go for the vice president. I told her, if you're going for vice president, we are not with you. Until 10 minutes before they stopped receiving people, she then decided to go as the president. And I told her, listen, you are not going there because you want to win, but you want to know your position. I even remember that I was coaching her using an example of a movie that I watched long time ago. I told her, when you are fighting, you don't fight to know others. You fight to know where you are, your progress in terms of leadership. Where are you? How much people can trust you? So if we fail, it's fine. You will know that you have tried. And to our surprise, she won the elections and she was the president. And women were happy. And in the story of our university, she has been one of the best presidents in the history. So I understood that the main cause of these challenges is inequalities, but it can be used in different levels. The first level from that is from our background. I understood that it wasn't to me to tell the rest of the group, you did something wrong to discourage our president. I understood that they came from different backgrounds and they were not prepared to believe in lead by women, not only not to lead, but not even ready to be led by another woman. And apart from that, men can use women to just confuse the group and discourage them. So for the next time, for the next meeting and discussion, it gave me an over understanding of what is one more thing that is blocking women from trying their leadership, for applying, for using their voices when it comes to be a leader, when it comes to be elected, mostly because women really fear failing. They really fear failure. And when someone knows that you are fearing to fail, they will always show you that, pay attention, you will fail. People will not vote for you and it will discourage you. So not focusing on what will people say, but focusing on how are you progressing in terms of growing in your leadership. Failure can be a measurement of your progress in your leadership. So
Thank you for that. I'm struck with the piece from the movie. Can you repeat that again?
I was saying, in a competition or in a fight, you're not trying to know the other, your opposite. You are trying to know yourself. You are trying to know your position, your progress, and your strength. So if you focus on your enemy, you will even fail because you will never know their strategies, their strength. But if you focus on you, you will not conjugate the verb failure. You will say learning.
Gotcha. Thank you. It's a bit of what Michelle's story was, a bit about putting herself out as a woman in the medical field. Yeah. Does anybody else have a comment or story about a leadership challenge you'd like to share?
Yes, I would like also to mention a challenge most of time women face in this area, where some organizations try to empower women, not because they want to empower them, but because they are pushed to empower women so that the world will see that they have empowered them. So what are they asking for again? Yeah, so in these situations, of course, women are empowered, but they are not part of decision-making sphere. So it's, for example, you are empowered in a certain level of the organization. Of course, you have a position, but when it comes for decision-making, you are not part of you are not part of the discussion. So this is another kind of challenge women are facing, because of course women leadership, women empowerment has been has been a long journey. Organizations have started to empower women, to promote women, but not every organization promotes women in the right way. They sometimes promote them for the sake of seeing women around, not giving them the opportunity to decide, to speak out, or to contribute to the table of decision making. And this is a very harmful challenge, because women can feel like they have been used, maybe for fundraising purposes, not because they have something to contribute to the advancement of the institution. That's the other challenge women are facing.
It's a very profound point about organization. It's almost like checking off the box. Yep, we've done this, we've done this. But the ethos of the organization hasn't really changed. So what do we do about that?
Putting ourselves out there and being vulnerable. I think that's a step that Aldefine was saying, encourage others to have the courage to stand up, to be able to not be just a check mark. We see that a lot in the US, especially now in companies, and it's like it's a checkbox. They need the minority, they need the Asian, they need the African American on the board, they need the women, but they don't want to allow us to have a voice. But if we become vulnerable to a point to show them that we are just a person, we just want to be heard and be respectful in the way, it can change how we lead.
I think one of the realities, because to be one of the only or the first or the few women in a leadership team or situation means that It might be just to get a quota, or it might mean that someone's really eager to have a woman's voice, but they doesn't mean that the system is built or they're or the men in the room are ready um to listen. I just want to recognize that that means there aren't a lot of that in that situation, there wouldn't be a lot of mentors within the organization who are also women in leadership. If you're one of the first, that's an assumption, but I think that's often true that it would be harder to find someone within to be a good sounding board as another woman if you're one of the first. So Mary's question of what do we do about that? What came to mind just now was the women whom I've found to be sounding boards or mentors or coaches of some kind who are outside of the organization. So seeking out an individual who probably has more experience, but some kind of related uh, experience, and who is able to be the kind of sounding board that lets me reflect outside of that leadership team space or outside of the moment when there's pressure. Um, and so it's like stepping out, reflecting with another woman to find my voice, to find what it is I actually had to say in that moment or what I want to say next time. And that lets me be more self-aware the next time I'm in this space with all the men. And it's been invaluable over the years. I've had probably I can think of right now 5 women who've kind of played that role for me over the years where it because there wasn't a woman in the leadership team who was providing that kind of mentorship. So I found it outside. Yeah, finding a different perspective and from that other person, but also being able to articulate, well, what is my own perspective that might feel like a different one? And I have to think through that before I bring it clearly. That's how I work.
I think for me, and I'll give a little bit of backstory, but taking a step away from what they what their expectation of me as a leader is. And let me explain that. So I'm on a board for a camp, and it's a faith-based camp, and the expectation for the women on the board is to do all the work, while the men take the credit and make the decisions. And so what I've had to do on that board is take a step back and be like, I'm not doing that. Like there are 8 people on this board, and you guys can step up and do something. Um, and that's taken a lot because I also just want it done. Like it's important and it needs work that needs to be done. But I've gotten really frustrated with that expectation of, well, you're the woman, go do it. Um, and so, yeah, taking that step back and being like, well, this is not going to get done because no one else is volunteering to do it. And that's part of our job as a board to do this, um, has been hard, but also it's forced some people to step up and do something and change their perspective a little bit. And I'm going to say it's like this much at a time. Like it's not happening quickly or fast, but taking that step back and going, it's okay that that doesn't get done because I can't take the responsibility of an entire board on my shoulders.
The word boundary comes to mind. And and when we see that things need to be done and we want to see them done, we want them done for the greater good for the organization, for the other people. That's hard. Wow.
That's something that I struggle with. I am being better. And I learned from the first conversation that I came here. I'm not sure, I don't recall who was it, was Vivian or Aldef, Delphine had said that after 5 o'clock, they don't answer any more work calls or focusing on kids. And I took that and I've been trying. It's hard when one of those birds, texts me and I'm like, it's How can you not know where that paper is? It's on Drive. We all talk about this in the meetings. And so, yeah, that's powerful, Lindsay. Boundaries is something that I feel that we women struggle with. It goes back to many years, and cultures. That's a big fact of it. How we were raised, how are we people pleasing? What is your love language? What is your mechanism? How do you learn? So all of that and having this special conversation with other women, I feel it's so important. I learn so much every time. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear that. And as Mama Delphine just said, normally women should be there to support each other. And whenever we can have this opportunity to have conversation with women or among women, it's really it's an opportunity that women should not miss. And I'm encouraged to continue developing conversation with women. We never know what who will say and what you'll gain in someone's conversation that will help you in one or two aspects. So yeah, I'm really happy and honored to be part of such conversation so that as women we can discuss, we can speak about some issues related to us women and see how we can be a support to one another.
Vivian, I'm really happy that you raised this question about the motivation for organization to empower women. And to be honest, it's most of time for fundraising purpose. I want to bring us a little bit to reflect on still the same question, but in a context of women, like in Congo, where getting even a job it's another reality. And when they access to that position and notice that maybe they are raised in this or that position for these specific reasons, and when they think of stepping back or taking other decisions to to value their personality or their work, another question raised like, okay, what if I leave this job? What's going to happen? What will be next? And then that takes you back and even affect, and you will find so many people in different organizations fighting against their nature. One side knowing the truth, the other side, okay, acting because I want to protect this job. So as at a global level, we are facing the same realities. Sometimes for particular people in particular contexts, it even gets harder. It even gets harder to take decisions. So it's really time to, yeah, to get this reflection again and again so that women can learn from others' decisions, even for a hard time, because the hard time is defined by the context and the culture um, that accompany your work and your decision. So thank you so much, and I really appreciate these different perspectives, and it's opened my mind on how to reflect and how to even help other more to respond to this crisis. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, I just wanted to mention that with the training we provide to women, we also need to teach them to know how to advocate for themselves so that they can be bold enough in such situations when it comes that she's not given the role or the responsibilities she should have. If she has ability of advocacy, she can see how to bring the issue on the table, discuss it with her leadership, so that together they find a solution instead of just being there as to advertise for the organization, but be responsible or do what she was supposed to do. And being bold is really important. And the organization, they will see and they will feel like that she's not there just to please them. She knows what she value. She know her value. She know what she wants. And as Lindsay said, maybe stepping back can also be another solution, so that leaders, the top leaders of that organization, can feel that what they did is not true, is not right, having someone and not giving her all power she has to have. So being bold, having advocacy, knowledge or experiences are really important for women leaders, so that they may know what they value, they may know what they need to do and how to do it.
I have another issue that I always come across. Thank you, Vivian. That made me holding others accountable. We have to hold each other accountable for wrong and right. To be an advocate, you have to know your place. There's a place for debate, there's a place to listen, and there's a place to act. Everyone matters, I believe. It doesn't matter if it's, white, black, men, or female. Everyone matter in my world. And I'm always reminding my colleagues to listen, say 1, 2, 3, breathe out, and then you speak. I think that's very important to find your tribe, to just find where you fit in, and to get support system that are in the same length level that you.
What if you're in the system and you can't find somebody? What are some other ways to hold people accountable, hold the system accountable, hold the organization accountable to what's really true? You've mentioned find your tribe, find somebody else, go outside, find somebody else outside who can be your mentor. Is there anything else that we can have in the toolbox?
Connection, because I'm looking in the screen and it's so beautiful. We all somewhere else, and we are here discussing how to save the world together. I would be interested hearing from Vivian or Delphine how it is in Congo.
Yes, I think that working or getting more connections is very essential in our leadership journey, because we may not be where we're supposed to be, but we are somewhere. We are somewhere with these initiatives like Nyota that that is trying to change the narrative of just being a part or keeping the culture, but reminding women of how getting into connection, supporting each other will result to something different. And yeah, there is something that is coming out of that, and where women have been mentoring others, and those more experienced mentoring those who are more experienced. even sometimes getting to a level of speaking for others. Okay, after observing in a period of time and say, okay, I don't want to look at this challenge just for me, but for others. But if that can be summarized in an internal policy, that will challenge the organization to act differently so that even when I will not be there, even for those who will replace, more who will come, they can have a reference of someone was here, said something, and it is guiding the process. Because sometimes male are too bad because we don't tell them what they're supposed to be. And we don't consider how they also grew up and what was their role, their model of leadership and so forth. And yeah, I mean, exercise of, for example, putting in place some policies that will guide some decisions and some practices toward women, because it is said when it is written, when it doesn't, it is not written, it doesn't happen. So what will be used for advocate if we don't have policies, if we don't have structure that are established? That said, we will not work this way, so that in the next time we will refer to that. That is just a beginning, but that can be built and improved so that organization can have something, and women, both men and women, can rely on those policies and see how to work. Because some people may tell you, I didn't know how to work. I need someone to help me see the truth. So this is one of the way. Another solution to this challenge is also to confirm what we are able to, because people may want to use you when they know your limitation, when they know your capacity. So being in such position can also be an opportunity to demonstrate the opposite. In a leadership position, in a power position, you just act in a way that people may learn a lesson and treat you differently in the next time, because they realize that they were wrongly empowering you, but you have used that opportunity to really be empowered and even inspire more. So contexts are different, but we need to develop strategies to overcome these challenges.
Vivian, do you have anything you want to add about connection and from a cultural standpoint before we close?
I don't have too much to say, but I can also echo what Adele just said about connection. The stage where we are, we are not far, but we have started. Our context, it's like in the past, it was not easy to find two women working together, or it was the opposite. When you see two women, the tendency were not fighting. I missed the right word. It's like, I'm better than you. I can do this better than you can. But the narrative has started to change. Women have started to work together to support one another so that they can have spaces where they can develop each other. And for example, at UCBC, we have two groups where women try to think, what can we do better? How can we do it? How can we support one another? We have one group for students and staff, and the other one for staff. We have women voices and women of hope. We try to support one another so that we can develop ourselves and become good leaders. And whenever one of us will be empowered, she will be ready to that position, and she will work differently. She will work knowing what she's called to be and what she's called to do. So the contexts are different, and our cultural background is really tough. As you know, we are from the patriarchal system where women face so many challenges, but slowly things are changing. I can take examples from Mama Adele and I. Both our husbands support us. Whenever I have an opportunity of development, of to develop my abilities, my capacities, he's really open. He gives me that chance to develop myself. So that was not the same in the past. You can find a woman, she's not allowed to do something because her husband is blocking her from advancing. So things are changing slowly, and we hope that still on the good path and better things are yet to come. So we are hopeful that slowly and step by step we'll be doing things greater than what we did in the past. Yeah, we have hope that things will change. Things are changing and they will keep on changing slowly, day after day. And women will really be empowered, and their voice will be heard, and that voice will be used to create a better world where our sons, our daughters, they will live a different world from what we lived, because they will have different knowledge from what we have today, from what we had in the past. Yeah, and the world will be better living.
Thank you. And I want to acknowledge that this group of women here are setting those examples, and you all are, each one of you is taking important steps that are making improvements in the lives of others. So thank you. Well, just as we began close to on time, I want to honor and close here close to time and thank each one of you for being part of this conversation. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your vulnerability, for the stories. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for just being who you are.